Laura, thank you for the very generous introduction, and I thank you for also acknowledging the leadership of Secretary Bowles, our Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and a bunch of his team are here. And I just ask you all to stand up. The folks who in our administration are helping to advance this agenda. Just stand up and let me acknowledge you and what you do to show Massachusetts leadership. Thank you. And I want to also acknowledge and thank Ernie Moniz and Claude Canizares and all of the folks here at MIT, and you, Laura, as well, for your leadership in showing us, calling attention to the importance of getting energy right, and the leadership that you show in so many ways. Thank you for having me today. I want to observe Earth Day by talking about energy, and for very good reason. Climate change is the environmental challenge of our time. The combustion of fossil fuels for electric power generation, transportation, heating, and other purposes releases greenhouse gases today in amounts unprecedented in human history. Massachusetts is very much at risk. We have hundreds of miles of coastline threatened by sea level rise. We have ecosystems threatened by changes in temperature and precipitation. And we have urban populations that will be hit especially hard by more and hotter summer days, when health-related impacts of heat are worsened. In the age of fossil fuels, Massachusetts has been at an economic disadvantage as well. We have no oil, coal, or natural gas supplies of our own. We're at the end of the pipeline for every fossil fuel we use, and as a result, we pay top dollar and spend most of our energy dollars out of state. The International Panel of Climate Change tells us that to avoid the worst effects of climate change, we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. 80%. It is as plain as can be that to reverse the course of climate change, we must fundamentally change the way we produce and use energy. As long as fossil fuels remain cheap and abundant, as they were for most of the 90s, and indeed for much of American history, the purely economic impetus for clean energy innovation was slight, frankly. But now supplies are constrained and demand is rising as China and India surge into the global economy and the price squeeze is on. Crude oil is trading above $115 a barrel. Have we checked today? I knew it would be higher. And heating oil, I wish it were a laughing matter. And heating oil and gasoline are at record highs. The age of clean energy is here. And power comes not from fossil fuels, but from technology, innovation, and skill. Those are commodities that we have in abundance here in Massachusetts, and they are infinitely renewable. And I do believe we must think of this as a shift in an age instead of merely in a resource. The Stone Age didn't end, as somebody said, because they ran out of stone. It ended because humankind had a better idea. So let me share with you some ideas that we have been working on in my administration. First, Massachusetts is already taking the lead on direct mitigation of climate change. One of my very first acts as governor was to bring Massachusetts into the regional greenhouse gas initiative. And since then, our state has been leading the development of this first-in-the-nation cap-and-trade program for carbon dioxide emissions from large power plants. RGGI will hold its first auction of emissions allowances in September, and Massachusetts will be among the first states to participate, and I'm very proud of that. Massachusetts is the first state in the nation to bring greenhouse gases into the mainstream of environmental regulation as well. We now require analysis and mitigation of greenhouse gas emissions from large real estate development projects through the state's environmental review process. That policy led to a voluntary commitment by that little college up the river to set a legally enforceable cap on greenhouse gas emissions from development of its Alston campus, the first such cap on real estate development projects in the country. And we have begun climate roadmap. This is an attempt to move beyond the vague and largely aspirational climate action plans that we all read about. They typically get done and get put on a shelf and forgotten. This exercise promises rigorous assessment of our current trajectory of emissions growth on a business-as-usual basis and careful analysis of what we gain in emissions reduction from each of the policies we put in place, so that we can judge which of these and other initiatives give us the kind of impact we're looking for. More than likely, the key to greatest success will be technological advances, new ways to light our homes and offices, get ourselves from place to place, and power our industries that sharply reduce our reliance on coal, oil, and natural gas. A clean energy future means a clean energy economy, an economy that feeds on innovation in clean energy technology for growth, not just necessity. For Massachusetts, I believe this presents an enormous opportunity. If we get this right, the whole world will be our customer.